inclusive, with new forest walks and destination places. And I say that very clearly because what we have a lot of parks that don't have toilets. So when you go there, you can go for a barbecue, but you've got to go home because there's no toilets. Why build a park and put barbecues there and encourage people to come and use these parks if you're not going to put the facilities to enable them to stay for 3 or 4 hours? A lot of people, you know, we're not all young. We all run around and everything else, and we can hold on for 3 or 4 hours. So why not put the facilities there? Free Wi-Fi brings security to our parks, because when we bring free Wi-Fi, we also bring security system. A security system is that we can put a camera in the park, a CCTV camera, and we can make sure that your kids, when they're in that park, they are safe. And that's the most important thing, is that when they are in that park, they are safe. And when we have a look at that, a lot of people would like to sit in a park and study. Free Wi-Fi is certainly encouraging them to be socially active. In Ipswich, our water charges on our water, in Ipswich, we pay over 60% more for our Tier 1 water charges than Lockyer, than Scenic Rim, or other areas. We pay 15% more for our water in Ipswich than they do in Brisbane. Right? But when you look at Scenic Rim, it's 71%. And why are we paying 71% more than Scenic Rim? So, how did they ever come up to this formula where Ipswich residents actually have to be gouged for this amount of money? It's absolutely scandalous that Ipswich ratepayers have not known about this and had no knowledge of this, that we are being charged for that. And no one has ever done something to fix it, and I will fix it. And it's time to clean up Ipswich. If you live local in Ipswich, there should be a job for you in Ipswich. There will be no more jobs for mates. Under a council I lead, there will be no more jobs for mates. And I say that quite clearly. No more jobs for mates. All Ipswich Council tenders and all Ipswich City Council owned company tenders will be open tenders. They will go to tender. So there will be no more closed tenders. There will be no more closed shop where a job is given to a mate because he's donated to some of the directors of that committee or that company. That's never going to happen again under a council. And I will make sure that that never happens again. Every project over $200,000 will go to tender. Every project will have a 40% loading on it, where a person applying for that tender must show 40% local content. That means that they buy in at least 40% of their goods in Ipswich, or they hire people to the value of 40% of that project in Ipswich. So that means that we self-generate jobs with what we put out for a project. If I build the Barry Street Bridge and it's $87 million, 40% of that $87 million comes back into Ipswich. It's our ratepayers' money that's paying for the bridge. Why not put that money back into the community to employ people and regenerate that money through the community? And that's why I say we will create jobs. And no one else has come up and said how they're going to create it. I am telling you how I will do it. In 2012, the Surf Pool Company said that Ipswich was the best location in Australia for a surf pool. I spoke to the companies in 2013, and I spoke to them again only a couple of months ago. Their belief is still that Ipswich is the best place in Australia for a surf pool. And they say that without doubt that it is the best place in Australia for a surf pool. We are triangulated between 3 international airports. We are 1 hour from Brisbane International Airport, and they can come and have a surf. We can get them to stay in hotels. We can get people to come and buy a hamburger. We can get people to spend the night, spend the day, spend the week. It doesn't matter. We can get the schools to use it and bring surf safety, surf classes. We can have surf parties. We can do whatever we want with that pool. This is a privately funded operation, and it would be privately funded. The Ipswich City Council, under a council, would have to provide some direction as to which location, the land, and what's available for them to use. This will be a very big tourist incentive for people to come to Ipswich, along with my mining tourism, which I will bring out later. Mining tourism is a boom industry in Canada at the moment, and when you have a look at Ipswich, has so many defunct mines that are not used, but to the tourist industry they're very valuable, because a person can come from China or Europe and within an hour be in an open cut mine site, and that's very good. Now, the planning review panel. A lot of people talk about the planning review panel, and let's talk about it. Planning review panel will bring transparency of the government back to the people. Now, I can tell you how the planning review panel is very simple. There will be about 15,000 letters will go out once every 2 years. From the return of those letters, there will be selected people, and they will be vetted so that there's no town planners, there's no developers, there's no people with a vested interest in the response group. That response group will go into a civic lottery. The civic lottery will draw 3 people out of each division. So we will have 30 people on a panel, and these 30 people will go through a system where they will be educated on how the council works and what the perimeters of the planning scheme are, and and what rules and regulations we've got to work under. From that, once every 6 weeks, when major plans come up for the council, they will go to the planning review panel. The planning review panel will discuss it. They will offer input into it. There will be an abstract produced, and there will be a report produced on that. All councillors will get the abstract, and the report will be presented to the full council. Their review will take up to 41% of the consideration of a development proposal. We're a system, and I'll give you an example. For the Barry Street Bridge, when the Barry Street Bridge comes up, it'll go through to the panel. The panel will actually decide what is the best look for the bridge. Whether we have 2 bike lanes or whether we have 1. It will decide on what it looks like, what some of the roadworks are, and things like this. So it'll give us input on that, and that input from the ordinary, normal citizens of Ipswich will make sure that no developer can put up a plan that is not approved by the people of Ipswich. This panel will have a sunset clause on it, and every 2 years a new panel will come in. No member of a previous panel will get a second chance. They get a 2-year chance to be on the panel, and this way this panel can never be manipulated. It can never be infiltrated by people with vested interests. So because the 30 people, you would not be able to manipulate it. And because of the consideration, that brings total transparency to council. It brings a new level of appreciation of the planning process of council. And this needs to happen. And I will bring that, and that will be one of the first policies that I will bring in. People talk about, I'm going to be transparent. Their policy is, I'm going to be transparent. How are you going to be transparent? I have just explained to you exactly how I will be not only transparent, but more than transparent, and that people will know exactly what's going on in my council. I'm asking you to give me the next 2 years. In 2020, which is 2.5 years, in 2020 we come up for election again. If I'm lucky to be elected, and if I have not proved my worth, if I have not steadied the ship and if I have not cleaned up Ipswich, you will judge me again in 2020. I want you to give me that chance. What I ask you now is to make a decision. I want you to make a decision to clean up Ipswich, bring prosperity and lifestyle back to Ipswich. Thank you. Has anyone got any questions? Yes.
I recently have spoken to Mr. Antonelli after seeing some rather interesting documents concerning the Ipswich City properties, and he assures us that payments have been made, yet the documents that were submitted say there is no payments have been made by the Ipswich City properties. So from the time they've started to this very date, no payments at all have been submitted, yet he says there was.
Well, I can't tell you on what he said or that because it's, I don't know whether he said that or not, but I can tell you that I have the financial papers of Ipswich City Properties, and in the last 2 years they have not made any payments to pay down their loan or the principal interest of their loan. The financial papers, statements which are lodged with ADSIC show that they got 3.67 million, I think, in cash advances to maintain the running of the company, while they have not paid any payments on their principal loan.
And there's only 6 people in the company.
Yes, the financial documents with ADSIC show that there are no employees of the company, and so we do know that, and we do have advice from ADSIC that they've referred it to the CCC. So we don't know what the outcome of that is, but we have to understand that there was 3.6 million in 2015 and 2016 over the period of those 2 years were advances made to the